Explorers, Kitty Explorer here, and today I am here to talk about London, England travel. The things you need to know before you go to London. So make sure you stay tuned because we're going to talk about all things like the currency, transportation, things to do, where to stay, etc., etc. So make sure you stay tuned so you can know everything you need to know before you go to London, England. And by the way, like I said, I'm Kitty Explorer. Here on my channel, I talk about all things travel, photography, and sustainability. So make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, and the notification bell is free for you to do so. And if you enjoyed this video by the end, you can also give me a little extra support for my channel by hitting the thanks button down below and give as much as you would like to support my channel. So now let's get into today's video. So first up, let's talk about the money, the currency. London, in England, they use the pound. That is their currency. And typically it is a lot stronger than the US dollar. That's what I'm basing it on because that's my currency. Right now it is a little bit weaker, or I should say the US dollar is a lot stronger. So US dollar is pretty close to the value of the British pound. But typically it is a lot more expensive in the UK because of their currency. They do use credit cards. I used my credit card a lot while I was in London and surrounding areas. Yeah, I think I pretty much used my credit card for the most part, but I did get some cash out because I love collecting currency. So let's talk about getting around London, the transportation. First of all, for us US folks in a lot of places in the world, US, we're not alone on this one. A lot of people drive on the right of the road, but in London and British ruled countries previously, except for the US, they drive on the left. So if you were hoping to drive in London when you go, I don't know the rules about renting a car, but they do drive on the left, so that could be a challenge for you. And also when you go to cross the street, they always say on the ground, make sure you look left. So that is one thing to know. Also getting around, it is a pretty walkable city. It's pretty flat and easy to get around, and it's pretty small of a city compared to other cities in the world. So it's easy to walk around, but obviously you don't want to walk everywhere. So they do have buses. They do have hop-on, hop-off buses. They have ride sharing, obviously, and taxis. For me, I would not technically recommend getting around by street, by bus or anything, because the traffic was insane. I remember we decided to take hop-on, hop-off bus because I highly recommend hop-on, hop-off bus in any city in the world besides London. But we got stuck somewhere for so long because the traffic was so bad. It just was like a waste of time where we could have just walked or take my favorite option, which is the London Underground. It is their underground train, their subway, which is very efficient, runs effectively. It is really good, and you don't get stuck in traffic underground, and it's pretty affordable. Now, things to note, if you do buy a ticket for the London Underground, obviously buying one for yourself works perfectly fine, but we did have issues when I would buy 2 tickets on the same transaction for me and my niece. For some reason, there was some complications. Like a few times we didn't get the second ticket, or we would get the second ticket and it wouldn't work. So definitely be cautious of that. Most of the time people let us through, they help us out because they could just look at our ticket and see there was an issue. So if you are gonna buy tickets for multiple people, I would suggest just buying or doing separate transactions. Okay, let's talk about safety for women and for Black people. First of all, for women, London is fairly safe. You know, I was there with my young niece. We never did feel threatened. We were never approached by anyone for any circumstance. We weren't typically out super late, but I would say it is a city, so obviously always use your common sense. But I didn't feel threatened at all. And as a Black American, I also did not feel threatened. It is Britain, which means they do have some racial issues. From what I understand, the racial issues are a little more subtle than in the US, but it can still happen, a little microaggressions and stuff like that. So that is something to be aware of if you go there that you could still potentially experience racism as a Black American in London, but it's definitely not as extreme as it is in the United States. So let's talk about things to do. Let me open up my itinerary, which you can purchase on my website at kittyexplorer.com/shop. It is a combined itinerary with Paris, and it's only $2 US. You can get in the itinerary all types of information, the links, and all of that in there. So one thing to do, I don't know how long this is lasting because this is a pop-up event, but if it is still available, check out Monopoly Life Size. It is an in-person action game of Monopoly. Monopoly at home, the board game, can be entertaining at times. I used to play it a lot as a kid with my family, but it can be very time consuming. But in person, it is so much fun. You have 4 teams that you play against. You get, I can't remember, you get a minimum in British Monopoly pounds. You get a token, which is a live person. It is so much fun. You may get put in jail. We got put in jail once. And there's like different challenges. So when you're not rolling the dice, 2 teams roll the dice at one time. And when you're not rolling the dice, then you do a challenge to kind of either build a house or hotel, earn extra money and stuff like that. And you can buy property and all of that. So it is really fun activity. It's great for the family. It's great for team building if you're going there with work. So definitely check that out if it is still available. Another thing to do is if you are staying nearby the Westminster Hotel, Hilton Hotel, reserve the bowling alley in the back. It's kind of great if you're staying at the hotel and you have some downtime. You can reserve the bowling alley and you can do that for an hour or so and then, get drinks, have food, and just have a great time there. Also, you may want to take a river cruise on the Thames River or River Thames. I don't know which way it goes. But definitely take that river cruise. We took it from the Westminster Pier up to the Tower of London one way. You can do round trip. You can go from the Tower of London to the Westminster Pier and you can see the beautiful sights, relax on the boat. They have an upper deck where you can see out and you're outside, which I prefer, but my niece decided that she wanted to stay inside because it is air conditioned and we went during the summer. So that's something to note. If you're going in the wintertime, I'm sure the inside is probably going to be a little more comfortable than being on the upper deck outside, but it is best to be on the upper deck for photos. So you get to see everything like the London Eye, the Big Ben, different bridges like the Tower Bridge. So it's really nice to get some nice views and you get some history along the way. Also, if you are in London, you have to do afternoon tea. I highly recommend the Charlie and Chocolate Factory afternoon tea at 1 Aldwych, which was spectacular. It was an amazing event. You started out with getting your tea or your fizzy lifting drink if you are above 21 of age. Then you'll get little different snacks. I can't remember the name of them. You'll get a scone and then comes out the beautiful sweets. And each of the items have some type of name relation to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So definitely check that out. Afternoon tea is a must while in London. And if you're low on time and you don't have time to go out and see other castles in England, definitely check out the Tower of London. It was one of their places where they had a lot of prisoners stay right inside the city of London. So you'll see a torture chamber, you'll see where they kept prisoners hostage, the crown jewels, armory, all types of stuff inside the Tower of London. It is very cool and it is a really old preserved place inside the city. And of course, you can always go to Buckingham Palace. That's definitely a beautiful place to see. And if you really want to go shopping, their famous shopping street is Oxford Street. So there is plenty of different stores along that street where you can just walk for hours, stop in and stop out, and you can go to this toy store where someone was singing outside. I don't know, it made me think of the toy store from Home Alone 2 because it was just over the top spectacular. So those are some things that you can do while in London. Now let's talk about where to eat. So where should you eat while in London? Now London, England is not known for having the best food. I have been warned by different type of people across the board that London doesn't have food. I've never heard one person say London has great food. So before I went, I took to my Instagram and asked my followers for recommendations on places to eat while in London, and they came through. Now, first of all, my niece had to go to McDonald's. We had to go to McDonald's in Paris and in London because she wanted to see the difference in the menus, which it is entertaining to see the difference in menus from the United States to London to Paris, which they did have different items. And we did try, they had mozzarella sticks on the menu in McDonald's, which we do not have on the menu here in the United States. They weren't good, but it's definitely entertaining to see. Now, I really didn't want to eat here because I have eaten here in the United States. It is a US restaurant and it is very expensive, but we got in kind of late to London and it was at our hotel. So if you have time and you want to have a really nice dinner, go to STK. They have wonderful calamari, wonderful service. It looks lovely on the inside. Definitely a great place to check out for a nice dinner. Now, if you're a fan of pancakes, check out where the pancakes are. I believe they have 2, maybe 3 locations. Maybe the third one's opening soon, if I can remember correctly. But they definitely have 2. We went to the one near Flatiron Square, and it was so good. Our pancakes were delicious, and we could not complain. It was definitely a good treat. Great food to have for our brunch that day. And of course, if you're gonna have afternoon tea, you may find the afternoon tea spot like we did, where you do get food options, which I mentioned in the things to do section. So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory afternoon tea at One Aldwych is a great place to enjoy afternoon tea as well as have a nice meal. So let's talk about where to stay. Kind of mentioned this earlier, but we stayed at the Westminster Hotel. It is a Hilton Hotel Curry Collection hotel. Wonderful hotel. The room was really nice, comfortable. It is small, typical for a European hotel, but it's a really nice room. The staff is very friendly and very helpful. They have STK in the hotel. It is in walking distance to a London Underground stop, and it's in Westminster, which is really nice. We were able to walk to the Westminster Pier, to Big Ben. That was in walking distance. And they had a wonderful workout room. I mean, amazing. You could go up there, work out, and see views of London. You could see the London Eye from the workout room and Big Ben. Very cool hotel. And they have their secret bowling alley in the back. So highly recommend staying there. I would definitely stay there again if I ever go back to London. And lastly, let's talk about tipping. I should have added this in all of my videos because tipping is definitely very hard. I look up tipping every time I get to another country because I'm like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Because in the US, we are trained to tip and tip heavily. So in London, tipping is maybe not necessary. It depends on the situation. At restaurants, typically a service fee may be added to your bill. So if it is added, that is considered their tip and you don't have to necessarily add an additional tip. If it is not added, 10%, at most 15% is fine. Obviously that is not as high as we may tip in the United States. Now, if you are taking a taxi, tipping is recommended to just possibly round off the pound. So if you were charged 15 pounds and 1 cent, give them 16 pounds, something like that. So not a huge tip necessarily. So yeah, so that kind of gives you a ballpark of how you should tip. And you may want to have just some extra pounds available to, like, if you have to tip a bellhop or something like that. Obviously, I didn't have to do that at the Westminster Hotel because we just carried our own luggage up. So that is just a guidance to help you with tipping. You can do more research depending on what you're planning to get done. Like if you're going to get some beauty things done, that may have a different tipping option. So look that up and just kind of use this as a ballpark to help you tip when you go to London. All right, so I really hope this was a very helpful video for you and planning your trip to London, England. Let's get this London, England travel off to a great start. Obviously, there's a lot of things to see and do in London, so definitely look up things that you're interested in doing. I hope I do get to go back one day so I can see some other things while in the city. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell. It's free for you to do so, and it helps me provide more and better content to you in the future. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit the thanks button down below and give me a donation of any value, and it will help me provide more for you in the future as well. And if you have any questions about this video, make sure you leave that down below in the comment box. Please share this video with your friends, family, and social media networks. And make sure you head on over to ketoexplorer.com. I'll leave the link down below in the description box if you want to purchase my Paris-London itinerary for $2 US. And if you want my Traveling Queen or Traveling King t-shirt, I'll have that link down below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day or night wherever in the world you are. Bye.